Thank you. Can you take a second to tell folks where you are now, your gigs? You're going to be at Holy Spirit when?
Yeah, Sunday at Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit Retreat Center.
With Dan Duffy.
With
Dan
Dan
Duffy's
Duffy.
here. Nice being so
And Sister Lalonde, you never got the Holy Spirit gig, did you?
Oh, yes, I've been there.
So it's been, we've been married 36 years, so that's been the greatest time. Every step of the way, she's been there. I tried to sell, I did sell to the Renaissance Festival a bit. In other words, a conceptual art piece. And I said, what I will do is I will be Will Kemp. And Will Kemp was one of Shakespeare's clowns. And he gained note in 1600 because he did a Morris dance from London to Norwich, 100 miles. So I contracted with Renaissance Festival. I'll be your guy. I will do that, and then you'll pay me for the 9 days. And then and they set it all up, and I went from hotel to hotel and the whole thing. And then the TV crews came out and did that whole thing. The part that's, maybe it's not funny, but the part is I'm doing this Morris dance, and Marty is 7 months pregnant, and she's along with me playing the violin. Like, oh, wait, what's the story here? So anyway, we're all involved with that stuff for a long time. So I forgot to play, but that's okay. You can work with it later if you'd like. This is a play called Ernest and Fidel. It was inspired by a trip I took to Cuba 3 years ago, and I didn't have a visa. I was in Mexico, and I went to a tourist agency, and I said, I want to go to Mexico or to Cuba. So she did the deal, so I went over there for 4 days, and part of it is my oppositional disorder, and I'll tell you what, I am sick of Dennis Rodman, Michael Moore, all those movie stars go wherever they want to, but I can't go to Cuba, so that's why I went. And when I was there, you know, for just all the things I picked up. So this is called Ernest and Fidel. This play was driven by the fact that I saw a picture, a photograph of Ernest Hemingway and Fidel Castro. And it's a little like the Nixon Elvis Presley photo. You ever seen that one? You look at it, what? So anyway, Ernest Hemingway had a tournament, a fishing tournament in Cuba, and Fidel Castro entered it, and then he won, you know, the tournament, of course. And so the play is written with a magic realism touch, in that you're not quite sure. The example of that would be the baseball movie, Field of Dreams. It's funny how Americans don't want to deal with any of that kind of, well, that touchy-feely stuff, but they love Field of Dreams. It's dead guys coming out of a cornfield. and you're worried about Mona being a witch? I mean, come on. So, anyway, this is written in that style, the magic realism style. So what happens is, Juan, that's clever, Juan and Rodrigo are in a boat. There's actually three of them, two Juan, one and Juan two. They're in a boat, and waters are calm, but then the waters start churning. There's a storm coming, and then pretty soon it's lightning and thunder, and it's going on, and they think, oh my God, we're going to drown. And then they look off to the side, and they see an object in the water, and what it turns out to be is on a timber is a statue of our Blessed Virgin Mary on this statue, and it's coming their direction, and the seas are calm, and it gets real quick. And that's Our Lady of Charity, who's the Cuban, the Cuban Our Lady of Guadalupe. So, I mean, you know, it's a virgin, and then she calms water. So they take that statue, and they take it to Santa Fe, or what, I can't remember the name of the town, and there's a cathedral there. And so then they have this cathedral, and then, you know, they have all these ceremonies, and then you say to yourself, oh, I guess this Catholicism thing didn't go away. Fidel Castro is, raised by or went to school with Jesuits, and they, oh, there's something going on. So there's still kind of rumbling. And I have another, that's another area where I get very, very interested in apparitions. Those are the visions that show up. Our Lady shows up, these visions. So, and in Mexico, more people believe in Our Lady of Guadalupe than in God. It's amazing. So, that whole, it's so blended culturally. I remember why in East New Maharas, where these guys go, it was December 11th, 12th, the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and there's a shopkeeper, and he's standing back, and it's a video or a television show coming from Mexico City, the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and he's standing there, middle-aged, Mexican guy, and he's weeping. Oh, okay. So I mean, it's definitely a different kind of thing, and we know that because someone who speaks Spanish will tell us is that Our Lady of Guadalupe is she's part native or indigenous, so it's not the white virgin in Europe. It's a different look. So this has always fascinated me, that kind of stuff. So when you see the tapestry of Our Lady of Guadalupe, it's important to understand that painting was given to Don Juan by God. And so the Mexicans believe that those brush strokes, that's all real. And they'll say, the anthropologists say, we checked the pigments, and so I just love that kind of stuff. So, the belief and how far it goes with that kind of stuff. So anyway, you got Our Lady of Our Lady of Charity comes in, and then the stage is bare except for a Cuban fishing boat. It resembles the boat from The Old Man in the Sea. Streams of characters enter from offstage. I had some Cuban music, but we're not going to use it. So the company comes in, and there's an entourage of stilt walkers and clowns and all the rest, and they come in. So you've got that festival kind of feel to it. And now I'm going to jump to the ending, and the part that's to me is interesting, and I like to see it produced, is that this is Hemingway at the end, towards the end. I mean, the alcohol is affecting him, and he's starting to lose it, and lose. Then also the trip to Mayo in Rochester, where they put him through. I've got that in here too. This lady that's a Mayo person said, "You better get rid of that. Better not have the word Mayo in there." So anyway, it's through the shock treatments and all the rest. So then I knew with this play that, as you know, Hemingway commits suicide, and I didn't want to take the audience down that road because I think it's not fair. So I had, at the end of the play, Hemingway's in his chair, and he gets the shotgun out. He gets the gun out, setting it there, and then upstage, with a lighting effect, that Our Lady of Charity morphs up, so she takes the whole stage, or a great part of it. And then Our Lady of Charity comes down, and she takes him, and she takes him down to the boat, and at the same time the flower petals will start drifting down, and so the last scene is she takes him to the boat, and then it fades out. That's the end of the play. Because for me, it was about, it doesn't matter how he dies. He dies. We don't have to, we don't have to do a grueling, gruesome thing. So that's what that play's about. And it's not a musical. So, so that is Ernest and Fiona. This I got a grant from Prairie Lakes to write this. And if you don't know how grants work, and some of you I know you do, they step up and give you a grant and then suggest that you spend it somewhere else, meaning at the Playwright Center. One thing we know, don't let the performers, the actors, and the writers have it. Make sure they go to somewhere else and write the check to them. So that's what I did with this. So that's what it was. And I don't know if I don't want to beat people to death with this theme of the films. Where am I? Over here. So that, how are we doing for time there, Terry? So we're, sure, this won't take long. So these are screenplays. And these are a lot of fun to write because you're just basically in your head the whole time you're writing them. So this is the Sorcerer's Scorebook, which I briefly described from the book, where this boy has a book and whatever he does happens. Then there's a really beautiful scene in here with his grandpa in northern Minnesota. And they're at a town game, you know, between two small towns. And then the grandpa says, hey, write in that he gets a hit. And so he does, and so that's what that is. And then it's got other aspects of that up north aspect of living, including the left fielders being bothered by mosquitoes. It's up by Effie, Minnesota. And the ball girl, whose dad is the coach, she figures out a way to do that. She goes out, she has the Latino guy, and they go out and they collect dragonflies in big boxes. Then they take the boxes out to left field and they let them out. And then the dragonflies eat the mosquitoes. So, we have some fishermen in here, or fisherwomen. This is called Goldtooth. This is a movie about, it starts with two men up in a tree, or trees. I don't know if you've seen it. They put these bags in the trees and they do it on rock faces. These guys are sleeping in the trees. They're forest workers, and so they're also fishermen, and that's where they sleep, is up in the trees. So then they're also fishermen, and what happens is it's kind of like Bad News Bears meets the fishing industry, because these two guys have aluminum boats that are shit. And then their two lady friends also have really crummy boats. But it's a Walker Walleye Festival, and so it's these four against the guys from Wayzata with the Ranger boats. They're about as big as this room. And so the whole thing is the competition between them. And part of what happens with that is they are able to convince these Wayzata fishermen that they really need to talk to a guru type guy on out on the res, Onigam Road. And so they go out, and it's a native guy, and he's very, very bright. He said, well, we're up here fishing, and we need a few tips. He said, well, I'm telling you, we're having good luck with these things. And you just put these, first you have to put them in your mouth, and then you put them on the hook. And then, yeah, they just slay the walleyes up here. So they're all about that. They're taking that stuff. Well, then they leave, and then you find out that they go over to the rabbit hatch thing, and it's rabbit droppings that are coming out. Then the other thing about these guys from Wayzata is they're cheating. They go out and they collect fish first before the tournament starts, and then they have it in, they have them ready to go, and then when they do their weigh-in, they take these fish that they've already got, and they put them in. So the other characters find out about that. They've got a guy who's got scuba gear. He goes through underneath, gets their stuff, lets the walleyes out, and puts like dogfish, terrible fish in there. So then the screenplay itself at this point is running. I'm thinking, well, you could probably do this for $300,000, but then I just couldn't leave it alone. I had to put a forest fire in it. Fireball. So I put a forest fire in it. What are you doing? So then they save the guys, the bad guys. They save them in the fire, and it goes on, and then it ends with a happy ending. So, but think Bad News Bears with a fishing story. Don't forget, that's the elevator speech. Now, not to beat this to death, and I won't go through the whole thing. But the thing about Ireland is that there's this kind of undercurrent of they know what these Americans are about, and they're kind of always having to piss on the Americans. Whatever they can do to give them the Jews. And they kind of play, this is generalizing, this sort of naivete, you know. So I was walking down the streets of Dublin, and there's a church there called St. Michael's Church, and it's not a Roman Catholic church, it's a Church of Ireland, but they have a mummy in there, in the bottom of the church. I mean, it's just actually dirt that's fallen off the skeleton, but it's a tourist attraction. So I see this guy walking through, and I said, "Right, excuse me, do you know where St. Michael's Church is?" "Oh, and why would you be going to St. Michael's Church?" I said, "Well, you know, it's archaeological." "Right, so you've been going there to see the mummy. Is that it?" I said, "Yeah, I would." He says, "Well, you know, it's about 10:30. He's not there now." Because he has an early lunch. You know, so he's not there. I said, "Oh, thanks. I'll see if I can catch you later so that I can, you know, see him." So that's kind of going on all the time. And in Gaelic, there's no word for no. So what it does is, in the language, then, it never stops. Yeah, I was wondering where the ferry is. And why would you be going to the ferry? It's always one more thing, you know, always one more, so that this conversation doesn't stop. If you ask directions, they don't say, "I don't know where it is." Why would you be going? You know, they get the whole story. So this is, once again, Western Ireland. By the way, Doolin is in County Clare. Where is she? My geography person. It's in County Clare, but I said Spalding Gray, didn't I?
Yeah.
I did say Spalding Gray?
Yeah.
What did you hear me say? Balding? Spalding Gray. So, but Doolin, you're right. What's the name of that Irish village where they have the Jim and Judy dance and all this? The apparitions show up on the outside of the church. What's the name of it?
Good question.
He knows where it is. So you've got the usual apparitions, you know, that show up out in the field with the kids, that kind of thing. But in Ireland, they actually have a little church out in the country somewhere, and the figures showed up on the outside of the church in the back. And in that one, they have the BVM, and they have Jesus, and they have a whole bunch of people show up on that one. And then I read the book about it, and they had like 30 people stood and saw this for like a half hour. Yeah, that's what's great about it. If you know the movie Waking Ned Divine, in that film, what happens is the guy wins the lottery and dies. So the village decides, well, to hell with that. Let's see if we can't get the money. And so there's some of that in there. This is called Our Lady of the Pub. And what happens is there's an orphanage. It's such a cliche. It's embarrassingly. So there's an orphanage and they need money. So they're down to the pub and they say, "You know, we got to help sister up there with the kids, the orphanage. We got to help them. They're in trouble." So they said, "Well, maybe we should have a pageant. Let's have a pageant." And all the tourists will come in and pay for that. And then Seamus goes, "Oh, to hell with the pageant. Let's have the Blessed Virgin Mary show up." And one guy is watching, he's watching a black and white film, an old film, that's Fatima, whatever that film is. And so, what? We'll have that, we'll have a lady like in Fatima, she'll show up, and all the tourists will come from miles and miles and spend the money. So a group of these lads then decide that they'll set it up. So they go to the church and they use pulleys and stuff to run it through the basement so that at a given point they can get the cue and the statue will go. And there's also, because they said, well, we'll have to take it easy on the drinking. So they get a storefront and they put a fake facade on the storefront so they can have their pub and the gambling and everything else, but you go like a speakeasy. You go through and then you go back. And so they got this all planned out. They're all in on it. The priest is in on it. And they're all through, you know, the whole thing. And then the Vatican, of course, as they would, they hear about it and they're going to take care of this. We're going to end this thing right now. So they come with the 3 priests are going to be the tribunal, and they get the priest in there and they say, why are you endorsing this? You can't be doing this. It's, it's not true. It's not a miracle at all. It's a bunch of people. It's a fraud. And so the priest says, well, let me ask you this, Father. This morning, did you say Mass? Yes, said Mass. And was there a miracle? Well, what do you mean? Well, the body of Christ and the blood and chained back and forth. We don't want to talk about that. I said, well, it seems to me that's a miracle, so why can't we have our own miracles? So that's what this screenplay does. Follows that line of progression. And at the end, it's the priest is sort of sent off to Africa, and his girlfriend follows him, and the girlfriend's brother. So that's how it ends. And the person that would be best for this is Murphy. He's a young actor that played in a movie called Wind That Shakes the Barley, and he's the lead character on Peaky Blinders, which is where all these guys wear these hats. She's watching too. All my brothers are watching. They put razor blades in these hats. Yeah, they're all hoodlums. So that's where we're at with that. Well, the hot shot's doing well. That's the one I haven't written. It's a sign! It's a sign!
It's busted.
Thank you.
I'm driving back in about 2 months. I celebrated my father passed away 2 months ago. I was back and life's set up so I could come back for a while. So I'll take a big road trip home and oh yeah. Yeah, I am going to. I felt bad. I'll actually stop here to see drive back.
Add to that tape, Sally and Minna.
Oh yeah.
I saw that tape.
I will.
You don't have to. Nobody's got time. We got grandkids out there.